Large parts of British Columbia's Fraser Valley are once again underwater after a powerful atmospheric river unleashed relentless, record-breaking rainfall this week, triggering widespread flooding and forcing hundreds of evacuations.
Houses that are like right there.
The severe weather event has revived fears of the devastating November 2021 disaster and prompted sharp criticism of government inaction on flood mitigation. The latest round of flooding, which intensified rapidly on Friday, December 12, 2025, forced the closure of a critical section of Highway 1, the main transportation artery linking Metro Vancouver to the rest of Canada.
There's a fucking train bridge.
Visuals from the scene show entire neighborhoods inundated, with homes, farms, and vehicles submerged in muddy floodwaters. The cause of the destruction is an atmospheric river, a long, narrow corridor of water vapor that transports enormous amounts of moisture from the Pacific Ocean to the coast.
That's the highway there.
While these events are common and normally vital for replenishing the region's water supply, a combination of intense, prolonged rainfall and already saturated ground led to disaster. In some areas along the western slopes of the Cascade Mountains, rainfall over 72 hours reportedly exceeded 1 foot. The overflow of the Nooksack River in neighboring Washington state significantly exacerbated the flooding in communities like Abbotsford, which sits just north of the border. The suddenness of the event was highlighted by traffic control worker John Rains, who described the scene on Highway 1. It was chaos. It must have been 35 minutes before it went from like nothing on the highway until the highway was gone. The agricultural sector in the Fraser Valley has been hit particularly hard. Provincial Agriculture Minister Lana Popham confirmed that water levels entered several barns, leading to an unknown number of livestock losses, including poultry. She noted the significant emotional toll on farmers dealing with the trauma of losing animals and property. As of Friday, 68 farms were under evacuation orders, with another 98 on evacuation alert. Emergency crews, supported by local farmers using tractors for rescue operations, worked tirelessly to move people and remaining livestock to safety. The disaster has reignited a political debate over flood preparedness. Abbotsford Mayor Ross Siemens publicly blasted the federal government for inaction, claiming that a flood mitigation plan developed shortly after the 2021 floods has not been implemented with federal assistance. To say we are disappointed and frustrated is an understatement, Siemens said, emphasizing that failure to address the situation puts residents, food security, and the economy at risk. Federal officials stated they are actively engaged with provincial counterparts and the public safety minister would speak to the mayor. This BC event follows a summer of costly flooding in other parts of the country in 2024. In August 2024, the remnants of Hurricane Debbie caused record floods in Quebec, inundating 55 communities. A month earlier, Toronto experienced flash flooding that caused nearly $1 billion in insured damages. Experts at the Canadian Climate Institute warn that such severe weather events are becoming more frequent and intense due to climate change. Warmer air holds more moisture, leading to heavier rainfall and creating conditions for more severe and unpredictable flooding across the nation. While water levels have begun to recede in some parts of Abbotsford, Environment Canada has warned that another wet weather system is expected to move into the region on Saturday night, prolonging the crisis and keeping residents on edge. Disaster financial assistance will be made available for eligible residents. The core of the recent destruction was caused by a relentless downpour that began midweek. Environment Canada reported that several areas in the mountains surrounding the Fraser Valley received rainfall totals exceeding 300 millimeters, nearly 12 inches, over a 72-hour period. The sheer volume of water overwhelmed local dikes, drainage systems, and river capacities. The Nooksack River in Washington state, which historically contributes to flooding in the low-lying Sumas Prairie region of Abbotsford when it breaches its banks, once again overflowed, sending a torrent of water across the international border. A major section of Highway 1, the primary east-west connector for the province, was forced to close. Significant closures also impacted Highways 7 and 11, isolating Vancouver from interior communities and severely disrupting supply chains. Hundreds of residents were placed under immediate evacuation orders, particularly in low-lying areas of Abbotsford, Chilliwack, and Princeton. Emergency services, utilizing everything from Zodiac boats to farm tractors driven by local volunteers, worked through the night to pull stranded individuals and their pets from flooded homes. Local officials warned residents to conserve water as treatment facilities struggled to operate amidst the rising floodwaters. The agricultural heartland of BC, the Fraser Valley, bore the brunt of the impact. The area is responsible for a significant portion of the province's dairy, poultry, and vegetable production. Provincial Agriculture Minister Lana Popham confirmed heartbreaking livestock losses across multiple farms. "This is a traumatic event for our farming community," Popham stated during a press conference. "We have dozens of farms under active evacuation orders, and we are working tirelessly to help move remaining animals to higher ground. The financial cost to the sector is expected to be substantial." Climate scientists emphasize that atmospheric rivers are becoming more intense due to climate change. Warmer oceans produce more evaporation, and a warmer atmosphere holds more moisture, leading to wetter rain events and increased flood risks across Canada's west coast. While the rain momentarily eased on Saturday, providing a brief window for recovery efforts, Environment Canada issued a warning that yet another strong system is forecast to arrive by Sunday evening, ensuring the crisis is far from over. As floodwaters slowly begin to recede across British Columbia's lower mainland this weekend, the true scale of the devastation is emerging. The series of powerful atmospheric rivers that inundated the region has left a trail of destruction stretching from isolated interior towns to the agricultural heartland of the Fraser Valley, resulting in billions of dollars in damage, destroyed infrastructure, and widespread agricultural losses. Authorities caution that a full damage assessment will take weeks, but initial reports highlight catastrophic impacts across several key sectors. The most immediate and visible damage was sustained by BC's critical transportation network. The province is highly reliant on a few key arteries connecting the busy port of Vancouver to the rest of Canada. Nearly all were compromised. Multiple sections of this vital highway were completely washed away or submerged near Abbotsford and Hope. Engineering assessments suggest several bridge footings may be compromised, meaning closures will likely last for weeks, if not months. These major alternative routes connecting communities like Mission, Maple Ridge, and Chilliwack were also closed due to mudslides and high water levels, effectively isolating the lower mainland from the BC interior. Both Canadian National and Canadian Pacific Kansas City railway lines experienced significant washouts and track damage. The disruption to rail service has created a major bottleneck for the national supply chain, impacting everything from imported goods to grain and potash exports. The Provincial Ministry of Transportation estimates the cost of highway repairs alone will run into hundreds of millions of dollars, emphasizing the extreme vulnerability of BC's infrastructure to climate events. The Sumas Prairie in Abbotsford, a region famous for its rich soil and high agricultural output, looks like a massive, muddy lake. The impact on BC farms has been described by officials as an agri-catastrophe. The most heartbreaking loss has been the death of thousands of farm animals, primarily poultry and some dairy cattle, trapped in barns by the rapidly rising waters. The exact numbers are still being tallied as farmers gain access to their properties. Stored feed and unharvested late-season crops have been completely ruined. Barns, equipment sheds, machinery, and irrigation systems are submerged and contaminated by floodwaters, which carry fuel, sewage, and debris. The financial impact on BC's food security is severe, with the BC Dairy Association and other farming groups predicting long-term recovery challenges for the local food supply chain.
It's unfortunate once again that the farmers and everybody out there are going through this. Hopefully